So let's go over some industry updates that I found to be useful. If you were here last time, I did a whole industry topic on AI and how to navigate through it, how to potentially utilize it to your advantage, what to watch out for, so make sure you don't get scammed and things like that. But here's another article that caught my eye that I'm sure everybody's heard of that track that AI created. It was the Ghostwriter. That's the producer's name or the creator of the Weeknd and Drake song that like blew up real quick. It was on It was on all the different streaming platforms. Then Universal had it taken down because it wasn't really Drake or the Weeknd. Everybody thought it was. So there's this platform called where's the name of it? Waves.ai, like the wave file with an S.ai. And they got funded $20 million recently to be the next streaming platform for AI-generated tracks. Not just AI, you can apparently you can upload anything you want, which interestingly enough has some weird guidelines. They're very vague, but they say things like you can't do hate speech, you can't do violent speech, you can't do X, Y, and Z to offend people. But, it's kind of funny because in a lot of music, whether it's heavy metal, rap, or whatever, the lyrics are going to include all of that. So I don't know how they're going to handle those terms and conditions. But if you look at the platform, like at the bottom right corner, it kind of looks like a Spotify on a desktop, right? So this track right here is The Heart of My Sleeve. That's the track by the Ghostwriter. Once it got taken down from all the major streaming platforms, they put it up on this platform. And since then, it got 541,000 streams just on that platform. So whether they figure out how to navigate the whole copyright legal issue with AI, simply getting 541,000 people hitting your website just on that one song, that's advertising dollars. That's not easy to achieve to get unique visitors at that scale. And as you see, what do they have? Even if you're on a mobile, I checked this out earlier today, Wall Street VPN, right? So this placement of the ad may cost that company a couple $1,000s a month. And that just flashes in and out. When you refresh the page, another ad comes on. But just simply by getting people to come on there, they're going to make a ton of money. It's funny to me that they got, instead of using the word Drake the way he spells it so they don't like infringe on copyrights or, on things that are, what's trademark, things like that. They're spelling it Drake, like D-R-A-I-K. The Weeknd is just the W-K and D. Ariana Grande, Freddie Mercury. It's hilarious, but if you go on this platform, I listen to some of if you guys are a fan of 50 Cent, his song Many Men, there's a Drake version of Many Men. You probably heard recently of some like Biggie tracks that are not really big. What are the Biggie's voice was used on Nas's New York State of Mind, on the legendary song. So, hey, I don't know if there's a crowd, maybe it's like for entertainment purposes only. Maybe this is the future. I hope to believe that it's not necessarily the future where fans will just listen to any stupid stuff that's not real. I think, human, authentic, real, live person is going to remain relevant for a long time. I can't say what's going to happen in 3 or 4 generations. But the crazy thing is that these companies are funding it. We don't even have a clear law yet of how AI is going to be regulated, right? So my question is, which I put at the bottom, is this going to be like another NFT kind of hype short run? If you guys saw what I invested into the Weeknd NFT, the Eminem NFT. I bought the Tory Lanez album. That platform, by the way, that Tory Lanez album was on, went out of business temporarily. I think it's funded by, what's the artist's name out of Florida. The artist, he put some money behind that, but that temporarily went down. Now it has a different URL. But the reason I'm saying NFTs had a short run, because I'm sure you all can agree, it was a hype. The NFTs that I still own, the Weeknd one, dropped 95% in value. Luckily, I only bought that one for like $800. It was a test just to get my feet wet. The one that I bought for Eminem was like $350. I sold it evenly, so I didn't lose any money. The Tory Lanez album, that was nothing. That was like each copy was $10, so I bought 10 for $100. But that's worth nothing. You know what I'm saying? So is this a hype? Now, AI is not a hype. If you were at the last show, that industry is obviously thriving. It's like one of the fastest growing industries on this planet, considering all the technology that we've had introduced over the last 30 years or so in computers. But this, I wonder, right? Because if the investors put up $20 million and 6 months from now, Congress passes a certain law, which makes it very difficult for something like this to exist, that's a loss. But again, they may be able to make their money in the short term just by getting these hits, just from online ads. We'll see what happens. So stay out, stay aware of these because they're coming. And if you haven't been here in the last show, watch the YouTube video. The whole show is on YouTube now. You can watch my presentation how to navigate yourself through the AI tools to use it to your advantage in many cases. So the next one, which is going to lead me to my topic for today, is another story that came out that Amazon Music, Spotify, DistroKid, Empire. Empire is a sort of invite-only exclusive distribution platform. So is Downtown. Other places like United Masters is both available to everybody here, but also sort of an invite-only platform. But they all got together and they created this initiative, which is called the Music Fight Fraud Alliance. We're going to get into this a little bit more in a second in much more detail, but I'm sure everybody's familiar with fake streams, bots, perception marketing and all that. So the reason I'm bringing this up is because a few reasons. Spotify and Amazon Music are two major distribution platforms. They're in this alliance. Spotify loses a lot of money every year on fake bots that they have to pay out for. I want to get into that in a second. I think there's a very simple solution for Spotify to remedy that. Just charge for every account. Don't have free accounts. Anyways. But Apple Music is not on there, which is interesting. And what's more interesting is that Sony, Warner, and the top three, record labels and Universal are not on there. Now, it's a public known fact that they are public companies that do have a stake in Spotify of some sort. So maybe that's the reason they're not on there, because they have some manipulative ways of getting certain streams to the, songs to the next level. We'll talk about that at the next topic. But the point I'm trying to make is that there's going to be more and more of these alliances trying to figure out how to battle this manipulation in the music game. Because again, I had a successful business in real estate, energy efficiency. I have a very successful business in e-commerce, in software development. We support clients like Victoria's Secret, Goodyear, and other big enterprise-level brands. I've been in the restaurant business. I'm passionate about, skiing, street racing, all these different things. And what I found in the music industry is probably the more wild, wild west type industry. Very little regulation. So stuff like this is affecting not just you independent artists, because you may not be able to compete with the type of tools that major labels have to take to advantage when it comes to this type of stuff, but it's also affecting apparently Spotify. I'm not trying to make Spotify look like a victim by any means, because they're making billions of dollars. But the interesting thing is that they only recently, I believe, have been profitable. All these years, they've been taking losses every quarter. Again, they employ many people. I think in the Freedom Tower, they bought like 5 stories or rented of office space. So they got money. Let's not, again, cry on their behalf. But I'm saying that even the investors that, look, I'm an investor in Spotify. I bought like 10 grand worth of Spotify stock. I'm down to like 3 grand. That shit dropped by 70%. So I'm not saying this is why, but I was hoping that company would succeed for many reasons. So this is an issue. We're going to get into it next. And they're going as far as to say that distribution hoppers, which means that people that utilize fake streams to get paid off of it, they'll go from like DistroKid to because you get booted off these platforms when they detect these fake streams. So that's what hopping means. But they're going as far as saying that they're criminals. Is that too far? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know how they're classifying it. I guess it depends on how much money they're stealing or, quote unquote, are caught to be stealing from these platforms and how they can prove that. But we're going to get into that next, because I think it's a very interesting topic to me, because I own a software development company. So I know a lot about, software development code, and I know how bot farms work very closely, actually, because a lot of my employees are in India, and certain countries have loose regulations on server, like regulation of who can purchase a server, what you can do with that server. And that's going to bring us to the next topic, which is fraud manipulation in the music industry. And I've touched on this many times, especially if you follow me. But the reason I want to talk about this is because, at the end of the day, at least for me being a foreign kid coming to the United States, the beauty about where we live, even though it's a very capitalistic nation, is that we got the freedom to participate in manipulation, but we can also not participate or understand what it is so you don't get affected by it negatively. And I'll go over, both options. But what is fraud and manipulation? At least from my standpoint, from my perspective, what I experienced as a, first of all, digital marketing agency that supports a lot of independent labels and independent artists to try to get to the next level the proper way, but also as somebody that invested money behind artists, we got scammed some of these ways. So streaming bots, obviously, is one that everybody's familiar with. Social media bots, fake comments, likes, things like that. PR, public relations, there's some manipulation in that. Not just in the music industry, in every industry I've been in. Digital radio stations, that's a big one that I lost a ton of money on. Black hat SEO, I'll go over that in a second. Ticket bots, we'll explain what that is. And then who is Chad Focus? He actually hit me up recently, and I'm hoping my man will agree to be in an interview with me, or come on my platform in the Artist Accelerator, or better yet, JC, I think we're going to have him on Music Vitamins, but we're going to do it digitally. But Chad Focus is somebody who's been in the news recently. I don't know. Has anybody heard of Chad Focus in the crowd? Okay, we got a few people. Cool. So, I want to talk about what I understand is going on. I watched a few recent interviews. So, again, this is from my perspective, and I want him to come on the podcast because I would love to talk to him, pick his mind, and just, help him do things the right way, that's my opinion, but also figure out how he got into the predicament he got in. Let me go into some more detail. Check the time. All right, so how does streaming views bots work? You see the pictures down here. Long story short, imagine a big-ass warehouse with racks of the cheapest either old school iPhones or Android phones that are hooked up to power, and there's potentially tens of thousands of them or just hundreds of thousands of them, but they can either be manipulated from a central computer or software, which is where usually streams and views come from, because it's very simple just to put a URL that each phone is hitting at a particular algorithm so it doesn't look too obvious. And then we got these, which is a new thing, because at the end of the day, Instagram, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, you name it, these platforms are trying to battle stuff like this. So they're constantly coming out with better detection systems and tools to cleanse the system. You guys probably heard of that. You've probably seen big A-list names lose multiple millions of followers overnight. And it's been in the news, Ariana Grande. I'm talking about on that level, the Kardashians, things like that. But the new age 2023 bot on social media, if you're a company that's running bots and you don't want to have to create new fake accounts all the time, and you want to keep your bots and make them look like human beings, they're usually placed in countries where you can pay somebody literally $1 per day to at least be a human behind 10,000 of these phones. They're just literally sliding on chairs, boom, 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 just doing certain actions. And the crazy thing is, I've measured this because we advertise for some of our clients. We have clients that are Afrobeats and dancehall clients that we advertise to Africa, and in certain countries around the world, we don't know how much, because Facebook and Instagram and YouTube have a hard time regulating it beyond the United States. In the United States, the regulation is much heavier. But I don't know how many of the comments that we may be getting on some of the ads. Mind you, this is ads we're paying for to get around in front of real people. There may be bots commenting on ads. And the reason they do that, from my understanding, is so they look like real people, so then Instagram doesn't wipe them out, right? So there's two types of bot farms. And that's how social media bots work. And again, you can purchase IP addresses. If you guys heard of a VPN, I can get on the VPN right now. I just went to to Europe to visit my family, but I could be in Slovakia on my laptop and make it look like I'm coming from New York City to the servers and people the Spotify platform, whatever. So you can buy 100,000 different IP addresses, and that is basically considered as a different user. That's 100,000 streams potentially. PR, I wouldn't say, I'm sure there's fraud going on in PR. I haven't experienced it in my career yet, even working with artists, but I've definitely experienced a lot of manipulation. And the PR agencies that I actually do work with that help some of our clients get to the next level, the good ones, they admit it. A lot of PR is used for manipulation. What do I mean by that? Before this blue check was available for purchase, you had to basically have good SEO, which is search engine optimization, or be on a bunch of reputable, authoritative blogs and digital channels to have something like Instagram or Twitter look you up, make sure you got a Wikipedia page, you're on Vibe magazine or Rolling Stones, get an article there, blah, 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 and then you get verified. But the reality is, as you all probably can imagine, you can manipulate that. A lot of times it costs money, a lot of times it connections and all that. And I've spoken to big show promoters and this is years ago, where they're starting to learn the process and they're trying to get better at what they do, that they would hire DJs in the EDM industry based on them being on all these articles, but the EDM DJ comes to the venue and 10 people show up. But it manipulated the system for the promoters to think that because EDM DJs all over these different platforms, all over these digital radio stations and whatnot, they're going to bring a huge crowd. And then, crickets when the show starts. Nobody shows up. So, again, if you understand the business, whether you're a promoter, label owner, artist, you either understand how to take it to the advantage or not. But look, just simply, you probably all seen a product advertised online where it says, as seen on CNN and MSNBC and Fox and all these things. You think 100% of the time those logos are properly licensed, or it represents reality, meaning that those brands were actually mentioned, those brands? Then you could just copy that shit from Google and put it on your product. If you're running ads behind it, people are like, oh, it's been on CNN, it must be good. Let me try it. So, there's a lot of manipulation going on, but if you understand it, you know how to, protect yourself from it or use it to your advantage. Digital radio stations. It's another one of those things that I lost a lot of money on, investing behind artists, where we were given reports on a weekly basis saying all these digital radio stations are streaming your artists, they're listening to your artists. But when I try to go deeper and ask, well, what times of the day? Is it prime time? Is it 3 a.m? Blah, blah. When I investigated more, I looked up a lot of these digital radio stations. I could put up MateRadio.com tomorrow and make it look like I got a radio station and people are streaming it. That's the problem. Anybody can do that. And when you get those reports, a lot of them can be bots. Now, something like iHeartRadio, they don't suffer from that because they're a legit company that syndicates content from Hot 97, Power 104, these major stations, and then make it available digitally. So when I go to Slovakia to visit my family, I can listen to Pretty Lou on the radio station digitally, and everything is properly licensed, paid for, and all of that. But I'm talking about these like random digital radio stations. That's another way to potentially get scammed as an independent artist. Watch out for that. And there's also ways you can manipulate it to your advantage, especially in the EDM industry. From my experience, we had some artists where, especially in Western Europe, there's ways to get on these radio charts, which I think is just a way of maybe verifying that the EDM artist, has enough money to invest into these mechanisms or strategies. So the industry now knows, all right, they pay their way in to be respected. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, and there are some digital radio stations that are independent that are super dope. Just do your due diligence and figure out what you're dealing with if you're trying to get on a digital radio station or if you're going to own one and how you're going to use it. Black Hat SEO, search engine optimization, and that basically stands for, like back in the day, if you put out a website and you had 50,000 backlinks, backlink is basically saying, okay, I got featured on CNN. If CNN actually features my article and it backlinks to CNN from my website, that's a backlink that's good for your page. Back in the day, they used to manipulate it and just get you, they would make up 50,000 websites and backlink it to your website, and they used to make your rank and go up on SEO. Again, in 2023, that's not happening, but there are other black hat SEO strategies compared to white hat SEO. That's like the proper organic way to grow your website from true discovery through search engines, putting up dope content, blogs, being featured in the right articles, getting the true authentic backlinking to other, channels, things like that. So that's another way of manipulation. And this game will never end. It's like a cat and mouse type of thing. It's kind of like computer viruses, right? Like there's a bunch of people, programmers, prodigies, intelligent programmers sitting in the basement just fucking around for the hell of it, for fun, creating viruses of that Norton antivirus that has to go behind, especially on the PC platform, and sort of, figure out how they did it, kill it, and it won't ever happen again. It's the same thing with all these strategies have the same life cycle. If you want to take advantage of them in the beginning, they may last for 6 to 8 months. You may benefit from it, you may not. We'll get into that later. But eventually they die off because these platforms are fighting it all the time. Why? Because they want to provide a hopefully good experience to us, the consumer. Because if you go on Google and you search for something and you keep getting bullshit findings on your search, everybody's going to stop using Google. They're going to go to the next search engine that actually gives you much better results, So, and then ticket bots, which I mentioned earlier, is the same concept as product purchasing bots. So Ticketmaster, right? Taylor Swift has a show, tickets go online, show sells out in 5 minutes, but 90% of those tickets were bought by a bot, which is later resold on like StubHub.com, right? You guys know about, that's why I had to pay for these Yeezys like $500 because there's no way I was going to get them when they came out because somebody else had a bot. And unless you're wrapped around the line of Adidas store, 2 days before the thing releases, online, you just get them right away, bots buy them, and then people resell them. It is what it is. It's an industry, and maybe it'll change very soon. And again, each industry has its own way of remedying in that. Like the retail business has a different way of approaching it than the music business will. So let's get in the chat, focus on who he is. So in 2019, he did an interview with Vice on, I think Vice News used to be a channel. Maybe it still is. I'm not sure. I got rid of cable. But he did an interview with Vice talking about how independently he figured out the game, how he was basically using what he claimed the same type of bot farms as the major labels used to manipulate the situation to get their own artists to the next level quicker in front of more eyes with, boosting the streams and with bots and things like that. But he did it himself, and he also created a bot that, made him a lot of money by purchasing tickets on Ticketmaster when certain shows or certain artists came out, then he resold them. Unfortunately for him, he was indicted in the FBI case, I think in the same time, because when the Vice interview came out, he's already talking about that he's dealing with the court case. He couldn't really talk about it a lot. But when I looked into it, the FBI indictment, and he did 2 years for this, was claiming that he frauded a company that Chad Focus was a SEO specialist that he was working for. And in a recent interview that I saw on DJ Spain's podcast, he claimed that he was sort of a partner and got screwed out of the deal, and that's, bullshit if he did. So he's saying that's why he took $4 million out of that company's profits, and he used it for his artist promotion through streams, YouTube views, bots. If you guys have heard of him, I think you might have, I think, and this is taken out of context, I don't think you should be looking at it like this. He was saying that he was stupid because he paid for a billboard downtown New York and, Times Square of him on the billboard saying he's the number one artist in the world. But again, he's claiming that that's money that he didn't spend on his own, but unfortunately he did time for it. So again, I would love to have him on the interview, and we will have him on the interview because he already reached out to me to find out the real deal. But that money was spent on manipulation strategies that he claims that major labels use. And one thing I want to get into, which is interesting, and I wouldn't doubt it one bit because I do work with enterprise level companies. We are in a capitalistic country, and if there's a loophole and there's not a criminal law against it, people will take advantage of it. I guess more power to you. It's just about being, is it ethical? Do you have certain morals or, principles that you go by as an entrepreneur, as a company, or as a leader, and you're willing to take advantage of them or not? But what he's saying is that major labels like Sony, Universal, and the big three that do have partnerships with Spotify may have their own internal system to boost the streams because Spotify knows about it, but they don't really, it's okay because it's internal. It's like within their circle. But soon as an independent artist that has the intelligence and the know-how how to do it does it, then it's not a good thing, right? So that point that he makes could be true, so I give him that, is that if major labels do use it and not, if this is the thing, I know they use it because I have clients that are some of those artists. But here's the difference between a major artist using it and an independent. I've talked about this before if you follow my content. Is a major artist is going to have a ton of real fans already. So when you sprinkle bots into a data pool of real interactions and real people, it does a different effect than if you're independent, you have 100 or even 1,000 real fans, but you pay for 100,000 streams, is going to kill your algorithm. Not only that, it's going to get you booted off all these platforms, which Chad Focus did say he no longer has a Spotify page, and he cannot ever get Chad Focus as the artist brand back on Spotify ever. Interestingly enough, he's still on Apple Music. And I argue the reason he's on it is because you can't really manipulate Apple Music that easily. And it's because they're all paid accounts. You can't get Apple Music. I mean, you could get it for free for 90-day trial, whatever. But there's no company that's going to be sort of having 100,000 iPhones with, Apple Music accounts sitting around to sort of boost it. There may be some, but again, that's probably why on Apple Music he's not, affected by it. And again, he's claiming that you can also test your songs with bots, which I can personally disprove, at least in 2023. Maybe in 2019, 2020, you're able to do it, but it doesn't work anymore because Spotify got more sophisticated. And if you get bot streams into your system, they don't have real human interaction streams, and you can never hit not never, I hate using that word, but it's very rare that you'll be able to hit the algorithmic playlists. And the algorithmic playlist is basically now Spotify pushing your song on your behalf for free because they know that a ton of people, real people that heard it, love it, and they're recommending it to other streamers, right? So let's we'll make sure I don't. Okay, 8:02. I got a few more minutes. So stream bot manipulation. To Chad Focus, I want to have him on the interview, like I said, because I want to really dig deeper in seeing why he's continuing to do it. And is there a better way that maybe I can team up with him, with my company, to help him actually get his artist brand to the next level? Because even though the FBI case didn't particularly say the indictment wasn't against the Spotify manipulation, it was the fact that he did wire fraud of the $4 million that he apparently took from the company that he helped to build. That's a whole other story. But streaming bot manipulation is nothing new. In 2017 and 18, if you guys used to watch my old podcast, Hustle Vitamins, I talked about this in one of my episodes. There was a Bulgarian company which put out 500 songs on Spotify. They were all 31 seconds long. Why 31 seconds? Because 30 seconds of listening to a song constitutes one stream in the platform currently. It may change. YouTube went through changes where it used to be 15 seconds back in like 2010. Then they bumped it to 30. And I think it may be percentage now. If you have a long piece of content, it's not just 30 seconds. It's a certain percentage of the beginning. So, it's a complex algorithm. But this company did 531-second songs, and they actually paid for 1,200 $9.99 a month premium Spotify accounts. And little by little, without anybody knowing, they created their own playlist, and they were just on repeat listening to their own 500 songs with 1,200 accounts. And like a year later, Spotify found out that they paid out $1 million. Nobody got in trouble. Why? For one, this company's in Bulgaria. There's very little jurisdiction that Spotify, I guess, had over there, at least at the time. Another thing that they took advantage of is, if you guys, have real streams, you'll notice that not every stream is paid out equally on Spotify. Some countries, by their governments, are forced to pay more per stream for their artists, like Norway, Sweden, a lot of the Nordic countries. I think at the time, Bulgaria might have been one of them, where you get not 0.003 pennies like here in the States. They might have gotten 0.0054 pennies, so still not a whole penny, but maybe closer to a half. But that makes a difference over these type of tactics and numbers, right? So it's not a new thing. And maybe, I guess, this could be done on Apple Music as well. I'm not encouraging it, and we'll get into, why, but it happens. So the last thing I'm going to talk about is manipulation worth it. In my opinion, everything I've ever built that was successful, it's not. It's a short-term thing, right? If you look at Chad Focus's YouTube page, after apparently spending $4 million through these tactics to build up his brand, he's got 12,000 subscribers. And his music is not bad. I listen to it. So the question is, yes, he made money through Spotify. In the DJ Pen interview, says he's continuously making X amount of, like 70 grand a month by spending 40 grand a month for this manipulation. So he's, netting 30,000, but he's not able to do it on his account. He's got a bunch of different songs. But what's the point? Is he just going to continue to manipulate the system and make money that way? I guess people can do that. But does it result in him actually gaining traction and real fans? And the reason I say build real fans, because if you want to have longevity in this game, brands like Snoop Dogg, right? I just met with Master P in LA. I had a meeting with him on Thursday. I had got an understanding for what he's doing in the cereal game with children, books and education and things like that. He partnered with Snoop Dogg to take over the cereal game, right? And if you think about Snoop Dogg, his advertising for Corona, he had a show with Martha Stewart. He had the Cadillac, the build, deal. He's been a voice in the Garmin GP. I mean, this man, because he has millions of true fans and a dope, brand and personality and whatnot, that's why he's able to do what he's able to do. But if you manipulate your way in the game, you don't have a true personal brand. So you can't really do anything besides continuing the manipulation to earn dollars. Like I said, if that's what you want to do, that's on you. That's, I would never do that because of A, ethics, B, I only got my citizenship in 2018, so I never want to do dumb shit to get deported. And I'm getting closer to be 40 years old. Again, I have success in businesses. It's not worth it. None of this shit that I've ever, I've tried PR to do manipulative PR. It was a waste of money. It got me those articles and all of that. But again, it was tough to measure. It didn't result in like any huge boom in business, but continuous advertising and doing events like these, getting in front of real people, helping other artists and companies, providing real value. That's how you grow a business, right? So you're not going to build real fans. It's super rare. It's going to be very, very difficult. And if you are able to do it without getting shut down on all these different platforms, again, what does your fan base actually look like? Like how many real people ended up following you off of it? Because unfortunately, in my opinion, Chad Focus is more famous for getting locked up, which is whack, in my opinion, than actually being an artist. right? And now he's got to be on interviews trying to justify his case and what he's doing. So that's why I want to bring him on my platform and just really see what is his plan going forward, because I think his music is pretty good. There is a chance that he could have a real fan base if he, refocuses his strategy a little bit. And lastly, this is what I wanted to talk about. In my opinion, Spotify has created this sort of scammy environment, this industry where you can get all these buy streams. But one simple solution for that would be to charge for all their accounts. If you think about it, Spotify is one of the only platforms that has free accounts, except for like SoundCloud and things like that. But in terms of major streaming platforms, right? Apple Music, Amazon Music, you can't get that for free. You got to pay for those. Even Pandora, I think you can get for free, but it's not interactive. You can't choose exactly what you want. You can only emulate a station based on your favorite artist. But if Spotify makes a change in their system, even if your business model is to manipulate the system to make money, you're out of business right there and then. If Congress passes a new law, for example, for concert ticket sales, and I don't know, I'm going to make up some crazy shit, which I don't think is going to happen in the United States, but what if to buy a concert ticket through Ticketmaster, you either have to give your driver's license number or social security number so they can prove that it's a human buying it one-to-one and not 10,000 bucks for resale later, right? That kills what... Right, so that they're not going to do that because it's going to infringe on people's rights and it's going to track everybody. But, there are sometimes there's a very easy pragmatic solution to kill a particular fraud or manipulation. But the question is, does Ticketmaster care that Taylor Swift show sells out? No, because they make money off of every ticket. If somebody wants to resell it on StubHub, they made their money, right? But, hey, Congress may get involved, and don't discount Taylor Swift or people like Beyonce with the Beehive, and I forgot what Taylor Swift's fan base is called. But, people in masses got some power here and there. So if Congress changes the law, it ruins your whole scheme. If Ticketmaster or Live Nation changes their own terms and conditions because they figure out another way to make even more money, again, it would sort of kill these platforms. And, I don't want to sit here and give you a ton of examples, but there's been industries that lived for 5-7 years that then completely went away because either Congress changed a particular law or just the consumers, have caught up to the game somehow, or we've learned more information, we became more knowledgeable, things like that. So that's why I don't recommend manipulation or fraud, because eventually, it's a short-term gain. If you want to do it, but I highly do not recommend it. So last thing before I bring up Pretty Lou on stage, scan the QR code if you haven't already to make sure you follow me, JC, Third Eye Sound, everybody on here so you can get these updates. If you're not on my Indie Artist Accelerator, it's okay, but I'm actually opening up to anybody. Anybody can get a free registration for this for a live Zoom interview with my man Chaz Bateman from AXC Creative, and I forgot to put his picture on there, but if you guys have heard of Abel Hart, it's a client and the artist that we've been working with that blew up on TikTok, and this is the real way. I'm talking about they're getting millions and millions of streams on their real songs. Now we're going to be helping them, looking at the data, retargeting those fans in particular cities like Dallas, Chicago, and filling up venues of 500, 1,000 people. So I'm interviewing Chaz because he's coming on to talk about the lessons learned, the whole trials and tribulations of their career, everything they went through, all the labels that they met with when they blew up on TikTok and things like that. So if you follow me, just go to the link in my bio. You can get a free registration for the Zoom link. It's that simple. But besides that one, if you the next Music Vitamins event is going to be either July or August. And again, follow me, turn on notifications, or follow Jay, and we're going to follow Music Vitamins on Instagram. We're going to be announcing the next event. We're going to, we try to have these once a month. So let me leave it at that. And let me bring on stage Pretty Lou, who, if you guys don't know, if you're from New York City, you don't know Pretty Lou, there's something wrong. But this man is a legend, Terror Squad member, radio personality on Shade 45, Hot 97. But the thing that impresses me the most, and Pretty Lou come on stage, he's going to talk about this, is that this man beat cancer. As he's beating cancer, he's working his ass off every day in the music industry. And every year he throws a charity concert. Last year was on close to 420, right? Fat Joe was headlining.
Yeah.
Hella Gray was there. Baby Boy Slime, which is JC's artist, and our client as well. So it was a dope ass event. All I gotta say, and he does this every single year, and the proceeds go to help anybody ever dealing with cancer fight that. So thank you for coming through, man. I appreciate you.
How y'all doing? How's everybody doing?
So
don't mind me. I'm stage shy. Nah, just kidding. How's everybody doing tonight? All right, so real quick before we get into questions and everything, let me introduce myself coming from me. My name is Pretty Lou. I've been in this game for 27 years, doing what I'm doing. I'll give you my titles. My first title coming up, of course, I'm the MC. I do MCing all the clubs in New York City, and now I'm MCing for the whole United States. I get booked from New York all the way to LA, all the way down to Miami, and sometimes even overseas. In New York City, of course, I'm on Hot 97. I do the mixed weekends. Sometimes I also do the covering for Hot 97s. And if you've been to Summer Jam and all that, you see I be rocking the stage sometimes to hype the crowd up. I'm also on the #1 mix show to all you unsigned artists on Hip Hop Nation, Sirius XM. I'm on with my brother Hollywood K. We have a show called The Closers. We've been on for 5 years already on Sundays at 8 o'clock. And then I also do the Heavy Hitter show on Mondays on Shade 45, And then besides that, I MC for a lot of artists, of course. I did a lot of work with Fat Joe on stage. Fat Joe was probably one of my mentors. I know Fat Joe for over 20 years. Even though I'm from Brooklyn, just to let everybody know I'm from Brooklyn, and he's from the Bronx, So, we clicked, at an early age, and I started working with him. I worked with a lot of artists like French Montana, doing, work for him, and so many artists I got on stage. I have done every stadium that you could possibly imagine. From here, from Madison Square Garden, from the Barclays Center all the way to the Staples Center. I'm trying to think of a lot of things that I've done. I have worked with every DJ that you ever possibly imagine. I have MC from Flex all the way to Kid Capri to Green Lantern. I have worked with so many DJs being an MC, and I'm like I always post. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn, growing up in the 90s, saying, you know what? My ticket getting out of the streets was getting on this microphone. And actually, you know what? Dreams do come true. And look at me now. You know what I'm saying? Well established. People, I get happy when people say, oh, you're an icon, you're a legend. But I still have more to go, to become to that part. You know what I'm saying? So it's great to be in front of people right now to talk about my story and to give advice and, to talk about everything. Because if I haven't been through it, then I don't know who else. I've been through everything in this industry, man. I've been through blood, sweat, tears. I went through one marriage, lost it, divorced because of being in this industry, to now being remarried and happily ever after, because now, my wife understands what I do. And, just to, before we even start the questions, being on this microphone has done a lot for me. I have 4 beautiful children, and one this year already graduated from high school going to Penn State.
Congrats on that.
And 2 graduated from college. My oldest daughter just got her master's this year, and it was all from being on this microphone.
Beautiful.
You know what I'm saying? So don't ever think that, thank you so much. Don't ever think that dreams don't come true. If you work very hard, believe me, they come true.
Appreciate you giving that intro, man. That is huge. And want to start with the first thing, and we're gonna get into a lot.
Of course.
As you guys see, we don't.
As you see, I'm the only guest here tonight. So,
but I actually love that because we get we can get into much deeper things. And I know we're gonna learn a lot because you've been involved in so many different business aspects of the industry. But I gotta ask you, because I asked that to every person that comes up here for the last couple episodes. What do you think about this AI stuff?
It's crazy. You know why? Because as I'm be honest with you, I'm just learning about this AI stuff, And if you come from the times that I come from, you know what I'm saying? Because I used to even work in labels. I used to work at Jive Records. I used to break records for Usher, Justin Timberlake. You know what I'm saying? I was even breaking records for I was a side road manager for Tony Sunshine when he was signed to Jive. You know, I worked with track masters, and you know, I see all these artists work so hard for this new era, for for all this this AI stuff, faking out music, and it kind of makes it harder for us, especially that we're DJs and we're VJs on radio. Sometimes we'll get a record and we're like, oh, we got this new Drake, and then later on we'll play it, and then we get to find out that I just played a fake record. Like, that ruins my reputation as a DJ, you know what I'm saying? Because now nobody will ever take me serious, because now they're going to say, oh, Pretty Lou only plays fake stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm against it, you know what I'm saying? I heard it from the grapevine that for all upcoming artists, it's like a catch-22. You know what I'm saying? For all upcoming artists, it might work for them because they're like, they're trying to do whatever they can to break through that barrier. So if there's like, hey, if we could do the cheap code and do this and maybe it'll help me out to get signed, I'll do it. But then if you look back to the artists that are there already and they work their butt off to be who they are to get this, then it's not fair either. You know what I'm saying?
There was a, sorry to cut you off, but there was a artist named, do you know who Grimes is? She's like a EDM.
Right.
So she came out after this fake Drake and Weekend song came out, and she was like, well, shit, I'm giving anybody that knows how to use this AI stuff, create a verse for yourself, create a verse with my voice on it, make it dope. If it's dope, I'll bless it. Let's make some money together, which is interesting. But what do you think about that?
It's interesting, and it's great for now. Would it be great later? No. I'm going to tell you why. Because later on, they're going to find out what you really did. And then you think your fans are going to be your fans after that? No, they're not. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not being real. You're not being authentic. You know what I'm saying? Your music is supposed to be your music. Your story. Let me let all y'all unsigned artists, let me tell y'all something. Your story behind your music is so important in this industry. Any little thing that you go sideways, that will break your image.
Yep.
And that will break you from being who you want to be. You rather be the unsigned artist that struggled and finally got through, or do you want to be the unsigned artist that did that, got through, and now you're considered a fake? It's the difference. You know what I'm saying? Listen, money comes and goes. Money comes and goes. Of course, I take this as a job. I get paid for it. It's the best thing ever. But what matters more to me is my reputation and my name. My name is $2 million plus. So if I could be doing something for free and I know it's going to make my name bigger, I'd rather do it for free.
Pretty Lou, what do you think? What could you compare this to? I mean, you've been in the game for over 20 years, probably closer to, 30 years now? But can you think of anything that was like this in the music industry that had a massive change, that in the beginning everybody was like, shit, how do we deal with this? Like, how do I work with this? And then, either went one way or the other, like,
right,
compared to anything.
I mean, I'll be honest, back in the days, we didn't have stuff like this. Maybe once or twice a year, you'll get like a seminar that people will come and listen to us and all that. Back then, you had to learn as you go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I see a couple of, like, my brother Rome over there. My brother Rome knew me from the beginning of my career, and he saw my struggle. We never even thought about having something like this. You know what I'm saying? It was always a one-on-one sometimes, with people. So now the generation, like, doing this and seeing all these great faces to be here, and just me talking about something to advance anybody that's here to listen to it is a great thing. And it's a great to take advantage. You know what I'm saying? I always tell people, listen, sometimes when you sit down, nothing's gonna fall in your lap. This is still school. You still got to come, sit down, and learn. You know, in order to be who you want to be.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm glad I get the opportunity to get you on here and talk to the artists, because I agree. Even when I got started, shit, 6 years ago, when I got beat for a lot of money trying to figure out how to make it in this game, there was not much to. There's only a few like YouTube channels that me as a businessman successful in other industries could look at and be like, that makes sense. Let me follow that and not this other stuff. But I can actually think of one thing talking about this manipulation. It's not on the same scale as how AI could disrupt this industry. But I'm sure you heard about this. There was a scheme that labels would use for increasing album sales by, for example, including a free CD with a ticket sale to a concert, right? That was a thing like 10 years ago. A lot of big name artists, I think Jay-Z, of course, did it. We had like Linkin Park did it, big rock bands. But the industry sort of put an end to that when it counted those sales towards Billboard charts, because they're like, nah, it's like you're kind of like manipulating it. Like, you already bought a ticket. We're not going to count that sale.
Right.
But, so it come and goes.
Remember, everything had barcodes at the end of the day. So, it's like barcoding that completes a sale.
Yeah. Which I think it should. They hated on Jay-Z. Remember when he, in 2013, put out, what was the project that came out on the Galaxy S3s on the phone? Magna Carta. I remember I had an S3, and like me and my boy downstairs in my studio at the time, we were listening to it, and we had it with like 3 days before anybody else had it. But he's on day one, million records sold because of how many S3s came out exclusively with it, which was, I think that was awesome. Right. And I think, talking about some of these innovative ways of doing things, it like has its time and place in the industry. Like, that was done once. Who else done that before? Because I think they put a stop.
I think he's the only one who can still do it again.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And again, Jay is a legend. I mean, look, the type of money he makes from other industries other than music, he used the music as a gateway. But that's another testament to somebody that has real fans, because I don't think if he had bought fake AI fans, he would never be able to do some of the things he's doing, because he would have had the respect of the culture, the fans.
Jay-Z's the only man, and he proved it, I think maybe a couple years ago, to go out and say, yo, I'm going to put an Instagram, I'm putting it right now, and he got more than 1 million in less than 2 minutes, and then he shut it down the same hour he shut it down. Like, he's probably the only man who could probably do that,
Sure. So, we'll move from AI to this, streaming stuff, and like, it affected me personally, because like I said, I lost thousands on hiring marketing companies back before what I knew what I was doing, and before my own company, of paying somebody X amount of money. They come back to us like, yeah, your artist is killing it on SoundCloud and Spotify. Spend more money with us, X, Y, and Z. But when I started looking into it, all that this shit is fake. I started thinking, how am I ever going to sell a T-shirt or a piece of merch to nothing? What's your opinion on this? Because it happens. It's out there in the industry. Everybody knows about it. But
you know what it is? You know what it is about the game now? The game now is very scary. You know what I'm saying? The game now, back then, everything was voice talk, like talk to talk, like you had MySpace, you put up the, music of, and, a lot of like the SoundCloud, all that exists. But nowadays it's like you go on YouTube and they'll be like, oh, shoot, this guy got 1 million something views. But then you go on his Instagram and he only has 2,000 followers. I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't get it. Like, how you got millions of views on your YouTube, but your Instagram only has like 2, so it's scary out there, because, you can't, and you also can't, you got to blame some of the same people as well. Some of them buy their own bots as well. They buy their own followers, and all that stuff. Is it worth it? I don't think so. I think it's, listen, I ain't that guy that I got 100-something K on my Instagram. I'm proud to have 75K. And those 75K are pure, genuine 75K. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't matter to me. Even if I had 3,000 followers, I'm proud to have 3,000 solid followers. You know what I'm saying? And I think during pandemic, I think Instagram did a cleanup, and it proved to a lot of people, you know what I'm saying, when they did that cleanup, that people had 100-something, and then all of a sudden they went down to like 20K. And Z, we knew what you did, Right. So always remember, like, whatever shortcuts you try to do, that's always going to come back to you and haunt you, especially in this industry. One thing about this industry, it will come back to you and bite you in the butt. You know what I'm saying? So, it's just, it's scary now. It's real scary right now.
Yeah, it's hard to navigate. That's why I do this, because I think it's so important. And maybe it's sort of out of like getting pissed off initially that I lost so much money. I was like, man, I'm going to try to change this game for the better. And the reason I do what I do here is because in energy efficiency in the software world and even the restaurant business, there's always associations of business owners that get together that either can lobby Congress or, like, in a particular stages, help each other. Small Business Association, SBA, incubators at universities. They help these industries out. And in the music industry, when I got started in like 2015-ish, like really taking it, somewhat seriously, there was nothing like that around.
Right.
And maybe labels are scared of it, maybe they're not. I don't know, but you work with a lot of labels. You've been at the radio station. How do you think the labels are kind of looking? Do you think they're embracing the fact that independent artists can grow their own brand to a certain level, and then the label actually benefits from it because it's less risky for them to sign them? Or do you think they're fighting it?
I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. If the label stations ain't making money, they're gonna find out. They're gonna find a way to get rid of that so they can start making their money. One thing about labels is that they're there to make their money. You know what I'm saying? If they give you an advance, that advance got to come back. You know what I'm saying? Labels are there to make money. You know what I'm saying? They're not there to lose. So I know for a fact any other label, even if I had a label, if I see that I'm losing somewhere, I'm going to make sure that I strike at that and take care of that before I lose more money so I could gain that money back. So I think labels are probably getting together, you know what I'm saying, so they could defeat this AI situation, because remember, it's always a trend. Something will start, they'll prove it, and then they'll find a solution to it.
Yep.
But then they'll find another way to do something else, you know what I'm saying?
It's always, that's like the gift and the curse of every industry.
Right.
And that's why I think you got to stay educated. That's why I tell every artist that if you just want to be the artist that's in the booth doing the music or shows up on the stage and whatever, you're shooting yourself in the foot. Like, you're putting yourself at risk, because then you're going to be one of those artists on VH1 10 years later. Yeah, you might have made millions, but your lawyers took 2 times more millions from you, and you're going to be complaining about it. And I understand those horror stories. I feel it. But at some point, in my opinion, you got to take personal responsibility. You know what I'm saying? And, like, the education is key. And you got to fall on your face multiple times. Like, there's no better way to learn than to do it on your own. So there's only, I can read a million books, but I got experience it myself.
My opinion, my advice to unsigned artists, and I tell unsigned artists all the time. I'm gonna be honest. My DMs is ridiculous with unsigned artists. Ridiculous. I'm gonna keep it real. If I ever want to cheat on my wife, I can't do it on DM. Because in order for me to find that person, I gotta go through maybe 100 unsigned artists. I have so much unsigned, but I tell unsigned artists, and sometimes I even post it. You guys putting up on my DMs what you do and your music is not, I'm not going to hear it. I'm keeping it real. I'm not. I'd rather sit here right now and tell you, oh, I DM you your music. Well, guess what? I am not going to hear it. Plain and simple. I'll be straight honest. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your fingers on doing that. I tell unsigned artists all the time, you got to go back to the old trend, to the old school way. You want us to play your music? You need to come to us. How you doing? My name is such and such. I got this record. Oh, okay. Be our friend. Support us wherever we at. Give us the time to listen to your music. Maybe at that moment we cannot play it, but I will listen to it because you gave your time to come to me to introduce yourself. So it's only right that I give you the respect to listen to it. And you will win that way. You got to remember the DJ is the number one plug in this industry. You got to go out there. Even if you got to jump on a flight on your expense and go to Cali, go meet the Felly Fells. Go to Miami. Go meet the DJs from Miami. Go whatever. If you want to be out there like that, right? Because listen, one out of what? What? Chances that you probably get heard on Spotify.
Right.
Or get seen on YouTube. But if you really want to be out there, you have to do the old school thing and network. You got to go out there. Just like how you guys made time to sit here and listen to me, that's how you're supposed to do it. You know what I'm saying? Social media is a great platform. I get it. It's great content to put up. You put up your videos. But all that gets viewed when you introduce yourself to that person. So if he comes up to me and says, hey, I'm such and such, how you doing, man? I do records. Oh, okay, cool. You know, here's my drive. Whenever you get the chance, listen. And here's my gram. I could now, after the club or wherever I'm at, go to my, okay, so that's his content. And then I'll listen to it. And then it'd be different. But by you sending it to me on a DM with 1,000 other unsigned artists, it's never going to work. It's never going to work. And so that's just me. So imagine even bigger DJs. I'm probably just the speaker for everybody else saying that.
No, I'm glad you say that, though, because you hear a lot of articles or people in the industry saying, well, playlists are the new DJs and all that, but I don't agree with that. The playlist, it's a new tool to get out there, but there's nothing like, look, Pretty Lou, you got 20 plus years in the business, so not only you may play somebody's song, but that personal relationship, if you see the artist grow, you have so many connections, so many people that respect you. That's why you've been in this game for 20 years, because if they didn't respect you, you wouldn't be here. He could be your advocate. So if you make that relationship, that relationship can, materialize 2 years from now, because he sees you grinding. Maybe you met multiple times. He sees you at multiple events. And then when somebody asks him to say, have you heard of a new innovative artist, blah, blah, you may pop on his mind, and the rest could be history. It could be that this is one industry I personally found that relationships are huge, because the more people I work with and more serious people I work with, the actual real industry where people make money and can help you, it's getting smaller, 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 and smaller.
Yep.
It's not that there's maybe 500 to 1,000 people in this industry in the United States that actually make shit happen.
I'm gonna give it two little quick stories, right? With two artists. One artist goes by the name of Cardi B. All right. Cardi B was not. I'm gonna tell you the real Cardi B. Cardi B was not the reality show Cardi B. That's how she blew up. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, she blew up because she was on this show. She blew up." No. Cardi, yeah, I think y'all know Cardi's background. Cardi used to be a dancer. In New York City, I was the voice of the strip clubs. All right? I'll be honest. Not no more, because I took myself out of that. But back then, I was the voice of these strip clubs. I knew Cardi when her name was Bacardi. Me and Cardi was like this. Okay? I used to make money for Cardi. And Cardi all the time used to tell me about her music. And used to do this and that. There was one time I even heard her on a track, and I was like, whoa. I think you should move forward with that and get the hell out of this shit. You know? And what she did was, while she was doing her thing in these clubs, she was getting very close with the DJs. And she was smart about it. Then she got into the reality show. But at the same time, she was making music. And then when she pulled out her first single, who she think she gave it to? She gave it to the people that they worked with. And look who she is now. I'm just telling you an example of, she did not blow up from TV. She blew up from the relationship she had with us. And now I'm going to give you story number 2. All right? This girl was at my concert. I was just talking about it with somebody yesterday. This girl was at my concert last year, at my Pretty Little charity concert. She came in with DJ Enough and his son, introduced herself, told me who she was. I was like, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. She sat in my dressing room and everything, talked about music, everything else. I listened to a couple of stuff that, I listened from Enough. Oh, shoot, whatever. But she was doing that to every DJ, especially the heavy hitters. And look at her now, and she goes by the name of Ice Spice. It wasn't TikTok. It wasn't. She was making relationships. You know what I'm saying? And I was just telling this person yesterday, wow, she was in my dressing room just a year ago. And now she's all over doing music with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But see, people don't know the background of it. People just see what they see through social media. You got to know the background of it. That's why I tell a lot of these unsigned artists, yo, do not depend on TikTok. Do not depend on Spotify. Do not depend on YouTube. You got to do the groundwork. You still have to continue doing the groundwork. It's not going to land. Just because you put it out there on TikTok or something, you're going to get 1 million something views.
The relationship is always...
It's the relationship, and that's what matters the most. You know why? Because when you do make it there, this relationship is going to last you longer. Because you know why? Because I knew when you was nobody. And now that you're somebody, I'm going to continue to support you. You understand what I'm saying?
And another thing I want to mention, that everything you said about Cardi is true. If you guys watched the past episodes, we had a number of label executives on here that dealt with Cardi B, talk about how great her personality is. She would stay after shows, talk to the kids, just putting in the time, not being a diva
Right.
about nothing.
And one thing about Cardi, she never changed. The way she is now, that's how she is. Crazy and all over the place. That's how she really is. I swear to God. She didn't change for nothing. The way she is now is how she was before. And that's why I love that woman so much. I'll do anything for Cardi. I'll keep it real. You know what I'm saying?
And then the second thing is he's got a show on Sunday nights. Because I listen to your show, and it's rare that independent artists get a spotlight on some of these shows. But if you do it through a channel like Pretty Lou's show, it's much more respect. Like anybody I listen to on there, I know now in the business they put in a certain amount of groundwork to be able to get to that level, because they're not going to play anything. Because again, Pretty Lou's getting hit up probably 1,000 times every week on the DMs. There's no way he's going through that. So that tells me as a music business owner or somebody in the music industry that, or for example, if you get on the New Music Friday Spotify playlist, not everybody, it's difficult to get on that. You must be doing something right, either going through a major label or doing some major independently. But for that reason, what we have on the show, and we're going to come right back to a lot of these questions, let's get to the American Idol / Shark Tank aspect of the show. So we got 3 artists tonight that are going to perform. So probably what we're going to do is every artist is going to get 1 minute to pitch themselves. I always get excited to see how they pitch themselves, and they get to do one song.
Nice.
The first artist is going to go, then we're going to break, talk more. The second artist is going to go like 15 minutes later.
I'll go with this.
So Third Eye Sound, who's the, or Mixed by Gabriel.
Oh, hold on.
Who's the first artist that's performing?
All right. First of all, thank you to everyone for coming. Appreciate y'all. Hope y'all are getting drinks and showing love to the bartenders.
Support the bar. Thank you.
The first artist today is Coffee Bean, and she's on the right-hand side, my right.
Nice.
And she's going to have a minute. You want to time it?
Yep. I'll give my time.
She will have a minute to just introduce her brand herself.
I got my buzzer
And-
over a minute. Watch out for the buzzer.
You just call it when you're starting the timer.
All right. So, and then, after the 1 minute,
We'll play your song.
Your song. So, stopwatch. I'm like, what am I doing?
Oh, the mic is behind you, by the way. You need the mic.
Yeah. And then Gabe, she's using
Yeah.
the booth to perform, right?
Correct. I mean, she can stand if she wants to. That's cool.
And what's her name again?
Coffee Bean.
Coffee Bean. I like that.
Yeah.
I can't live without coffee.
Balance it out.
So, all right, Coffee Bean. All right, you got 1 minute. Let's get it.
Y'all, how y'all doing tonight? Well, it's nice to meet you guys. My name is Coffee Bean. I'm from Queens. I'm an artist all around. I dance, I sing, I draw. I'm just very creative and driven. And my artistry is more driven towards being very transparent. I like to put my emotions right there for you. If it's heartbreak, if it's whatever it is, if it's confusion about, it's like my emotions, I'm putting it out there. I like vulnerability in my life, and I'm known for that as a person. So I feel like it should just be that way all the way around. So yeah, let's get into it though.
All right, let's do the song.
Let's do it.
I'm up, tossing, turning in my bed late on a Saturday night. Caught up on the floor, it's not fair to have me crazy and all in my feelings, baby. You got me right where you want me to. So don't you tell me no, don't you tell me no sweet words. All they do is cut me down, down. I'm so sick and tired of the drama. Every time you come around, always accusing me of something when you know I'm more than faithful to you. They say the ones that point the finger got 3 others pointed back at them too. If you're gonna leave me, just do it. And if you're gonna be here, just be here. 'Cause there's no use holding on to this love then. If you're leaving, if you're gonna leave me, just do it. I'm not gonna make you stay. I'm not gonna make you stay, no. Not gonna make you stay. I'm not gonna make you stay, no. So many lies you told me, and I believed every story. Thought I was your one and only, but I guess I'm not the only one. Tell me why you wanna see me cry? Playing games with my mind. I give you love, but you just lie. Making up excuses on excuse you from the things that you do. Will you stay? Will you go? Let me know, baby. Are we through? If you're gonna leave me, just do it. And if you're gonna be here, just be here. 'Cause there's no use holding on to this love then. If you're leaving, if you're gonna leave me, just do it. No. Just do it. If you're gonna go there, and if you're gonna be here, just be here. 'Cause there's no use holding on to this love then. If you're leaving, if you're gonna leave me, boy. Thank you.
Wow.
That was dope.
All right. So basically what's going to happen is we're going to go around and we're talking about the music quality, the performance, and just all around just the artistry in and of itself. So I guess I'll start. First and foremost, I'm sure everyone could feel that emotionally. That was the biggest thing for me. I just really felt what was being said and the way she was projecting. I'm definitely a little bit biased, so I'm not going to say too much just because I mixed that and recorded that. But I'll let it go to the other people.
Pretty Lou, what you think? And we try to switch it up today. We got old ladies, and you got.
I like that. Like that. See, this is when I could tell that, she's an unsigned artist, but she's been practicing what she does. You know what I'm saying? Her stage presence was very good. I see how you held the microphone. I see how you a lot of people think just by grabbing a microphone and performing is so easy. It's not. It's really not. I see that you've been practicing a lot. You know what I'm saying? I see you interact with the people. You was interacting with me to the point that I was like, all right, I need a coffee bean. You know what I'm saying? But the music-wise, loved it. I think as you keep going and keep progressing, I think your voice will get much better. You know what I'm saying? Listen, you picked the right show to come today because besides being on hip-hop and doing hip-hop and everything, I'm a super R&B fan. Like, I could be in a club listening to trap and all that all night, and I put R&B when I go home. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to that, like, I love R&B, and I think you did a great job. Now, with that song in particular, see, I'm going to give her some advice right now on stage. That song is more of a rhythmic, a rhythm, it could fit into like a reggae, Afrobeat stuff and all that. So, like, if you would, like, right now I'm listening to you, I could go up to you right now and be like, listen, I may not be that guy to break it, but I know a guy named Young Child that will. I know a guy that goes by DJ Magic that will. Or I know a guy by the name of DJ Nori. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to tell you is I'm actually helping you, point you to the right direction to break that one record. You know what I'm saying? Because that's that type of feel, mood that you have. Maybe you have other records that maybe I could do myself. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I like to point to the right direction that you need to go. And I think by you being here today, that should be your direction for that one single. So I love that. You sound great.
Nice. It was great advice. So from my stand, I love the vibe too. I love the kind of the reggae influence into it. And to what Pretty Lou said, I think it's a awesome song that it could be versatile, right? Like, it's not like a club joint, and he probably wouldn't play it on the Sunday night show because it's mainly more like probably upbeat stuff, but it's not slow where it's like baby making music. You know what I'm saying? It could be very versatile, especially for social media, for potentially getting synced and things like that. And the type of advice that I like to give is more like business marketing related, because I tell every artist when you get on stage, well, let me first ask you, is that song out everywhere? What's it called again? Just Do It. So if it's out everywhere, that's key, because that way you're not creating a barrier between somebody liking the song right now and hearing it tonight when they go home, and I'm going to put it in my Spotify. I would have said, hey, everybody pull out their Shazams and Shazam the song to see if this, budget sound system can handle it. But, we're doing the best we can. But I love that song, and then when you do your intro, describe yourself as an artist. I love that you draw and all that, and I could tell that you're versatile and like just being a creative person, but also talk about like maybe what you achieved, like Shark Tank style. Like, hey, I've done shows here and there and all that, because you got somebody like Pretty Lou on the stage. He's like, damn, this girl, if you would have said, I've done a show in front of my high school and 500 students came out, we're like, damn, okay. She's already, moving on the ground. But that's just my advice. So it's going to benefit the next two ladies who are going to perform. But I love the song regardless. I think it's a versatile song, and it could, move in any different direction.
And once again, it goes back to presentation. It's stuff like this that you got to do, because you never know who's here sitting, you know what I'm saying, and who's here listening to your music. Now, I could just go, when I get out, go to my truck, and I'll just, look up a song and listen to it again. Now, I want to listen to it on my radio, so you never know, I can make that phone call. Listen, I just heard this girl. Maybe you have a chance, listen to it, and you tell me what you think. Because just being here could lead a long way. You know what I'm saying? So what you're doing right now is super the right thing. Because now I know who you are. Now I heard your music. You didn't DM me. You know what I'm saying? You didn't get lost in the multi-universe of Instagram. So congratulations on that.
Definitely. And I think Coffee Bean is a dope name too.
Whole super dope.
Hopefully there's not other Coffee Beans out there on Spotify because that tends to be the case, but okay. That's good.
I gotta beat your mom.
Oh, wow, okay.
She was probably at that Dunkin' Donuts every morning.
The Coffee Bean is dope though. And you know, it's a very creative name too. So all right, so what we're gonna do, and appreciate your advice to her on that.
Of course.
We're gonna synced, like syncing is when she can maybe get that song to be a part of a commercial during the Super Bowl or NBC or TBS, or it could be in a movie in the credits at the end of the show or a series, things like that. So syncing is basically syncing an audio to a visual,
right?
Many different visual things. It could be another music video,
and that's another thing. I'm happy that he brought that up. A lot of y'all don't have to just be like, listen, I got to get discovered, get signed. I don't know if you know, but a lot of these commercials, like if you listen to commercials and all that, there's a lot of music out there that's not even from big artists. They're just from regular unsigned artists that sync their music and put it in, and they use it for commercials, and you get paid for it. And you know what? Sometimes even from that commercial, you get picked up from it. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you one thing. Me personally, on my career as an MC, like in these clubs, these are probably my last final 2 years being in the club. I'm getting old already. You know what I'm saying? I'm becoming a grumpy man. I just want to be home, you know, all that stuff. But Pretty Lou still continues, and I'm going to tell you how. Because one of my dream jobs after doing what I'm doing now is actually being a voiceover for commercials. But my biggest dream job is actually being a voiceover for cartoons. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could picture myself being a voiceover for a big grizzly bear. You know what I'm saying? With a stomach like mine, and be like, hey, how you doing, man? So, you know, we're going to go hang out on this trunk. You know? That's, you know what I'm saying? Because there is a life after the industry, Pretty Lou. You know what I'm saying? So to all the artists that are out there, don't think that should be your one lane. You got to pick a lot of lanes. You just got to see which lane is going to help you out more. You know what I'm saying? Because you never know. This one lane that helps you could open up all the other lanes. So always remember that.
Yeah. And I could give you guys a real life example. One of my friends, he started as an EDM DJ. Then he was in the band. He got the opportunity to get a horrible record deal, but got to travel around Western Europe, US, touring, learned a shit ton from the business. And we got back. He's also a producer, you know, naturally being a lot of DJs are. When he got back, he had enough relationships where he started making like jingles for commercials and things like that. And he's made some relationships with some of the agencies that always deal with companies like Microsoft, like Cadillac, like Honda, Pampers and whatnot, right? It's usually like these companies that have the relationship with like Netflix and things like that. So he literally on demand makes certain things for certain commercials and things that get synced. And he probably works like 25 hours a week. He's got a dope house studio. Probably makes $250,000 a year.
Comfort of your home.
Yeah, and it got an awesome career.
You know what's so great? To wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to work, and you go to your basement and you do a bunch of commercials, and then you're back upstairs for lunch. You know what I'm saying?
Time with your kids.
Spend time, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's just great. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you've been in the hustle for so many years and you've been out there so long, you know? I ain't gonna lie. Pandemic proved to a lot of people you could do a lot of things from home. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was a big scare for both of my companies. I thought one was going to fail, but it went to the next level, you know, and that stuff is real. So what I want to do to make sure we're good on time, because I want to talk about something that is really impressive about you is, you know, you're beating cancer. But if you don't mind, let's do one more artist.
Oh, man.
And let's get to that topic.
Let's do it.
The third artist, the finale, is going to go after that conversation. So you have Mixed by Gabriel. Is he taking a bathroom break?
Mixed by Gabriel, please report to the main office. There you go.
So my man, who's Yes. Yes, what's your Instagram, Coffee Bean?
Hello, My Instagram is Coffee Bean, COUFFEBEANE. So B with an E at the end and coffee with a U, if that
Okay.
makes
All right, go follow that. Yeah, so the next artist, right in the middle right there, is Malia. And she's going to do a minute pitch on her brand to everyone in the audience. And then we'll go into a song
All right, let's
called Elastic. Sorry.
let the minute
Go ahead.
start. Let's do it.
Hi, everyone. My name is Malia Catalina. I am a singing, rapping songwriter from Jersey. I originally started off as a poet back in college, and I found that writing is an amazing way to just express yourself and be able to kind of relate to other people. So that's part of the reason why I write, because I know in the world we go through a lot of things. And, sometimes we just look for that escape, and that's what music is for me. So I like to share that with other people.
It's beautiful. All right, let's get to the song.
All right.
Never laugh at someone I spend my days with. You never try, but they'll find a way to blame it. I multiply by the pain and now I'm gaining. Broken pieces still remain, I might just.
I'm tired of all that sad shit in my bag shit. I just wanna make a backflip, couple backflips like gymnastics. Type of money that's elastic, fresh like I be wrapped in plastic. You in the past tense, that was back then. Still the same with how I'm acting. I'm just laughing. Yeah, I grew so I don't give reactions. I'm in the math and trying to multiply these fractions. You're so crazy. You know how you play me. On the low, you still my baby. I can't fold, you left me hanging. You're so crazy. You know how you play me. On the low, you still my baby. I can't fold, you left me hanging. You knew that I was down to ride. Loyal, I would help you with a homicide. I was there for every tear but never made you cry. Losing you is just a fear I had to realize. The dark is not forever cause the sun will rise. I've been through colder weather, heart was paralyzed. Had to learn that it's whatever, it'll come in time. To be lighter than a feather, gotta learn to fly.
I was there for every tear but never made you cry.
You're so crazy. You know how you play me. On the low, you still my baby. I can't fold, you left me hanging. You're so crazy. You know how you play me. On the low, you still my baby. I can't fold, you left me hanging.
You left me hanging, now my heart is dangerous. Remember days I don't even wanna make it. Keep picking sides, I'ma hit you with a lane switch. Could never lie to someone I spend my days with. To someone I spend my days with. You never try, but they'll find a way to blame it. I multiply by the pain and now I'm gaining. Broken pieces still remain, I might just frame it.
You're so crazy. You know how you play me. On the low,
You still my baby. I can't forget you left me laying. How you play me?
you left me hanging.
And that's Elastic.
Nice.
So you guys can find that on all streaming platforms. That's actually the first song I ever dropped in January. And my Instagram is malia.catalina.
Malia Catalina.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Nice.
All of your music vitamins this happened. So who's first? Mixed by Gabriel and then Pretty Lou.
Yeah, so
See what-
first and foremost, I just gotta let it be known because I'm very appreciative of good sounding music. Whoever makes and mastered that, it definitely sounds good for the most, like, compared to all the other performances that we usually have. That's a really good mix and master. So wherever you're going to, good job. The performance and the lyrics, really good, but I do think you could work on the eye contact with the crowd. That's the only real thing that I really wanted to give feedback on personally.
Okay. That's solid feedback. Constructive.
Yo, JC, you set me up. You put in the right people for me today, right? You knew if somebody was bad, I was gonna let them know they were gonna be bad tonight. That's one thing. I keep it real. I'll be honest. If you're bad, I'm gonna let you know you're bad. But nah, you did a phenomenal job. Listen, one thing he's right. Your production was great. Whoever mixed it, whoever did your beats and all that stuff, kudos to them, man. They did a great job. Keep them. Don't fire them. Stay with them. They did an awesome job. I love what you were saying. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, listen, one thing about right now is that everybody wants to talk about what they have, what they drive, who they want to shoot, who they want. I'm gonna keep it real. A lot of music is becoming very negative right now.
Yep.
It's cool to have some of it, but not all the time. Not all the time. Sometimes I like to tell a lot of these unsigned artists, especially rappers, yo, start rapping about stories. Give me some stories. Give me something where you've really been through. You know what I'm saying? It works. You know what I'm saying? Because you want to reach me. You want to go into my soul so I can understand what you're trying to say. You know? And you did it, girl. You know what I'm saying? You did something that I was really understanding, and I salute to you on that. The only thing I do want to tell you, and I'm gonna reach a little bit more what he was saying. Just work more on your performance wise. You know what I'm saying? Be a little bit more. I know it was like a little song, but sometimes if you read to somebody, like you do give the eye contact to somebody, or like for example, if it was just me in the room, and you just want to sing to me like you really mean it to me. You know what I'm saying? Instead of, we don't want you just to just stand there and have a great song, but your personality or your persona is like, give us some of you. Open up a little bit. I know you're probably shy, but just open up a little bit. But besides that, fantastic.
Great feedback. Yeah, for me, I agree with a lot of what both Pretty Lou and Mixed by Gabriel said. One thing is that song out everywhere? Nice. Anybody Shazam it? You got one Shazam.
You guys got to be on point.
I hope that
See, I don't enjoy it. All right, I got you. I'm gonna take that, but still be on point.
And the production is good enough to where Shazam will pick this up. Because again, we are working with a budget
the
situation.
Production is great. I'm about to talk to you about who's your production people, for real.
But again, like that's the type of vibe I'm going to add to my playlist, especially for like when me and my wife are going on the road trip. Both the songs, like that's. And I grew up on, when I moved to America, I grew up on hip hop, so I do appreciate, like I got certain like playlists for the gym and all that, but like I can get some thinking done. It's a great vibe. But what I would say is that, from my experience of working with artists that do shows and have the first time to impress somebody, maybe on the next show if you have a more upbeat song that has more energy. And the reason, like I've read a few books about how psychology works with music. And obviously it's different for everybody, but you got either major keys or minor keys. And I think that was in the minor key. And usually the minor keys are like melancholy. They present like sadness or, just maybe a mellow vibe. I don't think that this song wasn't like sad to me, but like it was more a mellow vibe. Major keys promote excitement. And usually, I'm sure Pretty Lou can speak to this, it's sometimes easier to break more energetic in major key note records, because you have less to think about. It moves your body. It's more like natural, you know what I'm saying? And there's actually a chart that you can look up. Spotify did this like analysis of all the top hit songs in the world. They're all like C major, G major, A major, like all these major keys. I think the first minor key that has some major hits, be honest, is A minor. So there's just some, like musical knowledge. But this is like a great, what I would call an album song. But because I got a chance to meet you and you were here, and I bypassed the maybe stumbling up on you on TikTok, but got to witness it in person. Now I'm a fan, you know what I'm saying? But if you get in front of random people, I would say, just my feedback, just maybe do something more energetic if you have one song to do.
He's right. He's right. But if for example, if you do this one song again, you got to give it that why you're doing it. You understand what I'm saying? You got to go really deep in and do what you do, and you got to make us believe in that song. I believed in it. I just wish you had a little bit more of you in it. You feel a little bit more persona of you. But, you know, you go for whatever's in your heart. You know what I'm saying? But you got to go that extra mile. That's it. That's basically it.
Great vibe. And you know what? You said something that also I think is great advice. Like, not everything these days is so positive and all that. When you get on stage, any artist gets on stage, if you have the opportunity to talk, I know a lot of times when you're independent and you get on these showcases, they're like, you got 5 minutes, whatever. But squeezing like a 30-second pitch to capture the audience's attention so you can start with something like that. Like, look, a lot of the shit out there today is blah, 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 violent, this, and that, some bullshit, this, and that. But I want to give you a different vibe. I want you to pay attention. I want you to feel this song is such and such and such. And just that small intro, I promise you, because I've been to so many showcases, so many like big couple thousand people stage events with my clients and things like that, it'll capture people's attention. It's different. A lot of artists feel like I only got that 5 minutes, let me just drop something. And you lose their attention because the funny, again, going back to like some psychology, because I've been into learning about psychology for the last 7 years. It's weird, but generally we don't like new music as human beings. We like it when your best friend tells me about it, or my cousin or my grandma. So it's rare that people listen to new music. But like, for example, Pretty Lou's show, he's got the respect. So if somebody hears the new music on there, it's like me telling you, hey, I found this new product that does such and such, and we have a good relationship. We're friends. You trust me. You're probably going to listen to me than some random ass person that you meet on the street, but there's just some notes I wanted to kind of say. Like, artists, don't be scared to talk for a second and start telling people to pull out their Shazams. It's going to benefit you. It's going to get you in those Shazam charts. Shazam can push you on its own, you know what I'm saying? Because you have, we got maybe 100 people in here, close to. If you just get 10% of them, 10, 15 people, those Shazams help.
They definitely do. You know what I'm saying? They definitely do. But, continue doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. Doing a phenomenal job.
So thank you. All right, so we're going to have one more for the finale, but we're going to get into that in a little bit.
Oh, we got to hit 3 whole runs tonight. We got to hit 3 whole runs.
We got
2 so far. 2 so far.
A lot of pressure, but I think you'll do great. I could just tell. But, all right, so let's get into something else that I wanted to talk to Pretty Lou about. And, man, this is such...
This is the deep part of the interview.
And like I was saying earlier, as a business, as an entrepreneur, entrepreneurship is not easy. And I moved to this country, didn't know how to speak English when I first moved there. I went through everybody goes through challenges, but one thing I was getting into a second ago, I've been really getting into human psychology and how people are able to change their environment by communicating differently, by understanding how to read people differently, how to approach business differently, relationships differently. I love to learn new shit all the time. For some reason, I just do. It's usually business-oriented psychology, like to help me succeed. But one thing about Pretty Lou that I know is that this man battled leukemia, right? Which is a very, very difficult cancer to beat. We have cures for a lot of cancers, but certain cancers like leukemia and prostate cancer, the later stage, is very difficult to beat. Sometimes damn near impossible. But Pretty Lou fucking took that, beat the cancer. You know what I'm saying? And after, I'm going to ask him a lot of questions about this. I'm, based on my most recent knowledge and learning, I'm convinced, and they have studies to prove this, that when you're authentic inside and you're authentic person to your relationships, you have a solid state of mind, you're happy, you're not stressed. And stress can come from not being authentic because you're scared to speak up or talk to people. But your mental capacity can actually help you beat disease. And I strongly believe, I don't know Pretty Lou that well, but I know him through JC. I've been to his concert last year, which, by the way, he throws a event every year to raise money to continue to, pump more money into research for leukemia. But I believe that because the way he rolls and the way he presents himself mentally is one of the reasons that he beat cancer. But let's get into that. I mean, talk about, man, how that changed your life and how you're still grinding your ass off while you're dealing with this.
So I'm gonna give you the long version into a short version. So in 19, you heard me? Oof. 2014, in the summer of 2014, I started getting sick, and I started feeling like I was getting the flu. But it was a flu that was not going away. It was like weeks and weeks, and I was getting worse and worse. I would still go to work, but I was not. I knew something was wrong. And may she rest in peace, my beautiful mother. She came up to me as a mother and said, "You know what? You need to go get. Let's just go get a physical." But of course, because I'm a machine, this is what's important also to everybody out there who are machines like I am. Health is very important. And I never got to stop and say, let me get myself checked out, because I was always on the move. I was always working. I was doing this and that, because in my mind, I'm like, I have to provide. I have to take care of my family. I got to do everything. So I finally said, you know what, Mom? I'm going to go get myself a physical. So my mother, of course, as a mother, went with me. We went, did a physical. The next day, I get a phone call at about 6 something in the morning from the doctor who gave me my physical and told me, thank God I picked up the phone, because I was supposed to work that night, but then I just took off because I was not feeling good still. And they were like, well, you need to come to my office. And I'm like, my brother, it's 6 something in the morning. Are you open right now? It was well, for you, yes. Yeah. And I was scared because he kept saying, listen, I can't tell you over the phone, you need to come. So I didn't even get in my car. We took a Uber or car service. I don't remember what it was. Went straight over there. So I got to find out that I was in all my blood cell levels. Every blood cell from my white to my red to my platelets were -0. Maybe hours or minutes from a cardiac arrest. So there was an ambulance already waiting for me outside. So the ambulance took me to the hospital. They had to knock me out. They had to do an emergency blood transfusion to get my numbers back up. I was in the Brooklyn hospital for more than 2 weeks. The doctors at that Brooklyn hospital couldn't find what it was. Thank God we had a great doctor that said, you know what, I can't do this. I need help. So she called a doctor at New York Presbyterian Columbia University up there in Washington Heights, which is the 3rd best hospital in the world. They transferred me up there, and I got to find out that I had leukemia. I had this stage called LGL leukemia. That's a rare stage cancer, blood cancer. I was given 6 to 9 months to live.
This was in 2014, right?
2014. Because we were trying to rush to find a donor, a blood. I had to get a transplant. Thank God I found a match, which was my brother. And but we never got to do the transplant because I had a great doctor, may he rest in peace, that really focused on my cancer and was giving me, all the type of medicines that he was learning himself to give to me to make me live. That was 2014.
You know what? If I don't mean to interrupt you, but doctors going out of their way like that to
He went out the way for me.
That's
Not knowing who I was. I was just a regular person. And the day that I found out that I had cancer, of course, the doctor told myself and my mother. And of course, when you see your mother break down, it's just something that's just unbearable. Like, I felt like she was the one that had cancer, not me. So I asked one of the nurses, do you have a private room I could go to? Oh, yeah, there's a private room right there. Can I go there? Just make sure nobody goes inside. And if you hear anything, don't worry about it. I'm just beating myself up. I went in the room. I screamed. I cursed. I kicked. I cried. I yelled. I said every name in the book. But after I did that, I promised myself one thing, that I would never do that again. That I'm going to continue life and I'm going to move forward. Because I had a motto. I might have cancer, but cancer don't have me.
That's right.
That was 2014. We are now going to 2019, and I'm still alive. I'm still rocking. And if you don't believe, there's a couple people that ain't here saw my journey. They thought that I was going to either die in the club or on stage. Because they kept saying, why are you here? And you know what I would tell them? If I'm not doing my job, I would die. Because I was not getting caught in a black hole. In my cancer unit at New York Presbyterian Columbia, I was at a cancer floor that everybody had cancer. And everybody that I met, I will probably know them for maybe a week to a month because they all will pass away. But I learned from that. Because I learned that when they heard that they had cancer, to them it was a death sentence. They gave up on everything. They gave up on themselves. And that's one thing I never did. I never gave up on myself. I went through my 7th year of chemo. No, excuse me. I went through my 5th year chemo. One of the hardest chemo I ever been through. I think I did chemo from 8:30 in the morning to about 4:35 in the afternoon. That's how long the chemo was. And then at about 9:30, I was in the middle of 30,000 people on the Barclays Center rocking the stage. And then I had my brother DJ Nuff saying, excuse my language, what the fuck are you doing here? And once again, I tell them, if I'm not here and doing my job, I will die.
And you know what, if I could speak to that, because I think that energy, and let me know if you agree or not, I think that's what gave you the life, because you love what you do, right? I think that's huge, loving what you do.
I saw my life, when you get a death sentence, and of course, nobody's going to relate to it, you know what I'm saying? Only to the people who have been in my shoes. You see your whole life in a flash. So to me, it's like, if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out with a bang. If I'm going to die tomorrow, at least I know I did what I had to do. I showed my children that their father was the strongest man ever. I showed my wife why she married me. I showed my mother why I was one of her best sons ever. You know what I'm saying? And I was not going out without a fight. I kept striving. I kept working. I kept doing radio. I was in the clubs every night. Not just one. I was doing, to this day, I still do, 3 clubs a night. And I kept moving. One thing that my family was not agreeable on it until later on they finally agreed. I opened, if you was following me on social media, I opened my life to the world. And that's how I caught the world eye. Because every day I was letting the world know what I was going through. One thing, shout out to DC Comics. One thing I did when I was going through my chemo session is that I was doing my own comic book stories on Instagram. I was taking, so my favorite character is Batman. I always been a Batman fan since I was young. And what I was doing was I was showing the world that I was the real Batman of New York City. And I was posting up comic book strips, but I was changing the words and making it into my words. So, for example, Batman will be me and the Joker will be the chemotherapy. And every day, those pictures of Batman and the Joker fighting was how I felt that day. And the people was relating to it. You know what I'm saying? And that's how the world got to fight. The world, from New York all the way to Tokyo, was knowing my story of my journey and my battle. And it just grew so much. And then in 2019, I hit a wall. So I did my 7th and final chemotherapy. And actually, Sunday was Father's Day. It was my, what's that, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. It was my 4th year anniversary. On Father's Day, I fell into a coma. I was in a coma, what, 2 weeks? About 2 weeks? 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks? I don't know if y'all saw or heard, but I stopped Instagram. I was trending because when I fell in the coma, my doctors was telling everybody the worst. I wasn't going to survive. I was done, prepared for the worst. But I think what brought me back was the prayers that I got, not just from my fans here, but for all over the world. If y'all know what I'm talking about, y'all been on Instagram that long, on 2019, in June of 2019, all people kept posting was the bat signal and telling everybody to pray for me. Everybody posted it from Cardi B to Rock Nation. People was just posting and wishing me luck. And I woke up 2 weeks later.
That's amazing, man.
And
It's that energy. I'm a huge believer. I don't think I'm religious, but I believe it.
and one thing I want to say on record, when I did wake up, my brother Fat Joe came everybody was there during the time I was in a coma. So my brother Fat Joe came and said, listen, you're up. And I'm happy you're up. We are so proud of you. But there is one thing you're not going to do. And I said, what's up, Joe? What am I not going to do? You are not going back to work. Because he knew that once I got out the hospital, I was going back to work. So he was like, I was like, Joe, I'm sorry, but I can't. I got to go back to work. He was like, listen, I don't care. We'll take care of you. I was like, I got to make money. No, you're not. You will take care of you. We're going to take care of your family. You're going to stay home for the whole summer. And that man made me stay home for the whole summer. I stood home for the whole summer 2019. And then I made my comeback, which I would never forget, at the Barclays Center, my home in Brooklyn. On August 31st, I did the biggest show for 20 minutes at the Barclays Center. And when the people saw me, the best feeling was everybody went crazy.
That's what's up.
And that was my comeback.
Let me ask you this. What did you do in that summer when you were told you couldn't do nothing?
Man, I didn't do shit. Nah, what I did do, I spent more time with my family. And you know what? I want to say this on the record. I want to thank Fat Joe. I love him so much. Because if he didn't make me do that, I would not get to spend enough time with my mother, who passed away the next year. And I got to spend enough time with my family. And I also got time to recuperate. And I also got to backtrack myself. And I also got to recreate my career again. I also got to strategize how I'm going to do when I come back. And sometimes, to a lot of you guys, what I want to say is this. Sometimes it's good to take a step back. You know what I'm saying? It's not that every day you got to work every day until you can't no more. Sometimes you got to take that step back and refocus. If it's you going on vacation or even you being home or learn about your family. Let me tell you something. Your family is your number one fan. All right? Don't ever lose that. Because those are the ones that are going to be with you through thick and thin. And those are the ones that you need to give time to. You know what I'm saying? Work will always be there, but you got to give time to them because you know why? They are the ones that will put you on that right track when you continue. your career. And that's what I did that summer.
That's super dope, and I'm glad you're here. And the reason I wanted to talk about that, thank you for being comfortable talking about it, because I don't usually, a lot of people in entrepreneurship don't talk about how to take care of your health, especially in the music industry. It's like grind. I have a studio in Maryland as well. Probably 95% of artists come in smoking, drinking, party. It's like a party. But now that I meet and read about more artists that make it, a lot of them don't even ever drink or smoke in the studio, things like that. But the reason I wanted to ask you how you beat it and how you went through it is because not enough people talk about that. And if you understand, again, that if you're authentic, but you also know when to stop, when to take a break, how to take care of yourself. I love learning from those situations, because one thing, myself as well, going through as an entrepreneur, there's ups and downs. There's some hard times. And, there are times when you maybe get anxious or you're dealing with some type of ailment, but you don't even know and realize that it's from something that you think you love doing, but it's really not. It's maybe something you think you're supposed to be doing. In my accelerator, we have a lot of artists that think they're supposed to be in the game, that they were born to do this, one, that. But would they find out later? And I think that's a blessing if you can find that out, because you either get data from your consumer or the fan that maybe this wasn't your calling, you're not supposed to do that. However, you still learn about some extra knowledge that can now help you take another business off the ground, because you understand distribution, marketing, the business aspect of it and all of that. But it's every industry I've been in is difficult to find authentic people. But then the more and more I get to the top of every industry I've been able to be in, I find that the people at the top, they're the most authentic people I've met, whether they may be looked at as assholes or super, good, beautiful people, externally, like from other people's perspective. But I think that authenticity and that mindset helps people beat a lot of different things. But being self-aware is crucial. A lot of people don't talk about the physical health aspect of artists. And a lot of you guys are young. Take care of your health.
You got to take care of your health. Don't be scared to go to the doctor. Listen, I'll be honest here. I turned to the age that you got to go get your colon cancer test. And a lot of guys like, crazy. But no, I ain't doing that. Bro, you ain't gonna turn gay. It's actually gonna save your life. You know what I'm saying? You never know what your body goes through. I don't care who you are. You could be Jay-Z, and you could be who you are now. Diseases don't care. They don't discriminate. One thing I'm going to say, we might be in a racial world, but the disease, that's one thing I will back up. They're not racial. They don't care who you are. But you got to be on top of it. You got to be on top of it. That's one thing I learned. You have to be on top of your health. Without your health and without you, you can't continue doing what you want to do. Without you, you can't provide to your family. Without you, you cannot do anything to change the world. You know what I'm saying? One thing about me, about my concert, let me talk about the concert.
Talk about that for sure.
So every year, I do a concert called the Pretty Lou Birthday Charity Concert, which now I changed the name. It's going to be the Pretty Lou Charity Concert, because I usually do it during March, April, during my birthday time. But this year, we're doing it in October. During Cancer Awareness Month. The Pretty Lou Birthday Charity Concert, I bring a lot of artists. A lot of artists come and they show love. I had from, of course, Fat Joe. I had the Locks. I had so many artists you want to name. I had them on stage. Jim Jones. I had the whole Diplomats. I even had surprises, like for the first time, Bone Thugs and Harmony, all of them together the first time. They were at my show. I had the Lost Boys. You know what I'm saying? I had so many people, Jay Critch, I had so many artists performing. A Boogie,
Capella Gray.
So many people perform within, this is my 5th anniversary. Every year I do this concert, I donate everything. I do not leave with not one penny in my pocket. Everything gets donated to cancer research. And I also donate. So I donate 50% to cancer research, and I also donate to the research for the Children's Hospital at New York Presbyterian Columbia. Because you know why? The children is what's going to help us find that cure for the adults.
Right.
And I don't take not one dime. And I do that because I felt like God put me here for a reason. And it's not because, to be Pretty Lou, the MC, the radio guy. No, my reason here is also to educate and to help others that are not as strong as me. You don't know. I don't know what any of y'all going through right now in life. But maybe my words tonight might change something tonight for y'all, for anybody in here. Maybe somebody is going through something. Maybe somebody in here right now is going through a health crisis. But if my words helped you, then I did something right tonight. You know what I'm saying? And it doesn't have to do with the music industry. It has to do, honestly, with your whole life in general, because without your life, then you can't be that next big artist. You know what I'm saying? You got to put yourself first, and that's what I did. And just to make it clear, in 2021 of June, I became cancer-free.
That's awesome.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, appreciate you sharing that. And guys, in October, I know he doesn't have a exact date. I'm definitely going to try to be there if I'm in the area, but I want to see everybody at the concert because you guys are going to have a dope-ass time. When I went to the last year, I think it was on 420.
Yeah, it was 420.
So that was
It was 420.
a better time. But all the money, all the proceeds are going to the right, the right charity, the right cause.
It goes to the right cause. And you know what's great? Before we get to the next artist, just a year ago, somebody came up to me. I was actually parking my car and I was getting the thing for the meter. And somebody came up to me and goes, "Oh, you're Pretty Lou, right?" And I was like, "Yes." So in my mind, I'm like, "Oh boy, here we go. It's another rapper. Let me get ready." And he was like, "You saved my mom's life." It's like, how did I save her life? What did I do? Was I Superman? Did I fly somewhere? He goes, "Listen, my mother was suffering from stage 4 colon cancer. And I was following your story on Instagram. I made my mother create an Instagram account just to follow you and be as positive as you. She changed her whole life. She changed her doctors and went to my hospital, did everything she was supposed to do there. Of course, it was stage 4 colon. You never know what happens with that. But she went to the right doctors that I used to promote and I used to put up. And my mother is now cancer-free." And I was like, "God bless her." And he goes, "Because of you is why my mother's still here. And I want to shake the hand that saved my mother's life." But I did tell him one thing. I said, "No, you want to shake the hand that put the information. The one you should really shake is your mother. Because she made it her job to do what she had to do to save her life. So that is the real hero. I just gave the information. So if I could do that for them, you never know who else I could do it for."
And she was willing to change her mind. So that's huge. That's amazing. So, again, I wanted to talk about that because the last thing you said is you guys are getting these music vitamins. Use it to your advantage. It's like knowledge vitamin for your body, but everything. And I do want to talk about these topics because I don't see if I do have any competitors out there that are also helping to educate. Very rarely do I hear them talk about the health aspect. But let's go ahead and turn up the vibe with the last finale performance. But
We got one more home run.
do it.
We got one more home run.
Definitely a home run. So mixed by Gabriel, introduce the artist.
All right.
Works here.
Last but not least, we have Everything Sashi. She's right here standing up, and she will have 1 minute to introduce herself and her brand, and then we'll go into a song.
All right. So let's go ahead and start the minute right now.
All right, good evening, beautiful people. I go by the name of Everything Sashi. I am an all-around artist, like my girl back here. I draw, everything but dance. I'm gonna be quite honest with you, and I do not play no instruments, but I got this one. I love life. Y'all don't know where everybody been. You don't know what they've been through. Music saved my life, and that's why I'm here. I just want to share that with everybody else.
All right.
All right.
I don't have to use my buzzer at all tonight. So yeah, let's get into the song.
First of all, why would you waste your time on mine and mine? With nose to nose, we talking about me? Me? I ain't worried about what you doing. Try again, darling. With somebody else.
Old talk tells me nothing, Sally. When to me, you don't exist. No thing, bang at your house. This ain't no beef, we'll call it chicken. Make believe all that you want, little thing. It's a pin your aim gon' miss. Man, I don't give a damn what you said. Fuck 'em all. Man, you can perish to death. I'm over here, I'm never playing. No, gone. But listen, I don't give a damn, and that's all. If it don't pertain to me, then honestly, I'm uninvolved. You got a problem, take a number, line up till your name get called. Because simply, man, I do not give a. Imagine for a second having issues with someone who don't care. You can nitpick, act, switch, try your best to write something, you won't get nowhere. Can't bother one nigga how they live, or for some reason y'all just can't. Ain't nobody for a little stink, maybe what you do ain't the play. I lack the time to try, don't pry. For business other than mine, for this attitude there's no why. Got way too much up top to care how you define. Give a damn about judgment, that's for you, not I. Your talk tells me nothing, Sally. When to me you don't exist. No thing, bang at your house. This ain't no beef, we'll call it chicken. Make believe all that you want, little thing. It's a pin your aim gon' miss. Banking on me falling, I promise you won't catch that it. Gon' try hard or you won't cry hard until your bucket's filled. No, all you getting nothing is this here still with a kiss. Man, I don't give a damn what you said. Fuck 'em all. Man, you can perish to death. I'm over here, I'm never playing. No, gone. But listen, I don't give a damn, and that's all. If it don't pertain to me, then honestly, I'm uninvolved. You got a problem, take a number, line up till your name get called. Because simply, man, I do not give things my way here. It's all just love to really lit it up like cake. Can't nobody call me fake. Think you're gonna be safe that high horse, it don't go far. It's sorta like a trap, don't stay there. Can't be so you hate, yeah. We are not the same kind. And yeah, in my mortgage free, but in my mind, you're non-discriminating. I bet that makes you grind your teeth. You're mad at me when I can care less, and I just ain't got the time. Your talk tells me nothing, Sally. When to me you don't exist. No thing, bang at your house. This ain't no beef, we'll call it chicken. Make believe all that you want, little thing. It's a pin your aim gon' miss. Banking on me falling, I promise you won't catch that it. Gon' try hard or you won't cry hard until your bucket's filled. No, all you getting nothing is this here still with a kiss. Man, I don't give a damn what you said. Fuck 'em all. Man, you can perish to death. I'm over here, I'm never playing. No, gone. But listen, I don't give a damn, and that's all. If it don't pertain to me, then honestly, I'm uninvolved. You got a problem, take a number, line up till your name get called. Because simply, man, I do not give a.
Yeah. Woo! All right. Give your Instagram one more time if you haven't.
The word everything. Everything. Sashi, Sashii. That's me. I am everything and a little bit crazy.
All right, dope. So my what I noticed off the bat is that I really felt what she was saying. I felt like it was actually coming from a real place, meaning something she's actually going through. And I definitely really felt the emotion on that track for her. But I can't, I'm biased on this one too. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot to Lou.
Now, I'm not going to be a bad guy this one. It was definitely 3 home runs tonight. Definitely 3 home runs. First of all, the song is dope. Y'all hang out together or y'all just met today? Just met? Y'all should become a group. Word, y'all should become like the next, TLC or something. You know what I'm saying? The next something. But y'all, all 3 y'all should do a song together. I'll be honest. I thought they were a group. But on that note, what is everything Sasha? See, now because of coffee, what is it? Sashi. You made me think of everything bagels now. I'm going to go get a bagel. And then with the coffee, look at it, all fit right? Wow. It all fit right. But I love the song. It was I was feeling what you were saying. Exactly. I was feeling what you're saying. The only thing I gotta say is, once again, your presence. You know what I'm saying? I know you don't dance. You don't have to dance, but you gotta give them that ugly. You gotta know why you everything. You know what I'm saying? You just gotta work on that. I love the song if you shorten it a little bit.
Yes.
I think if you shorten it a little bit, you gotta understand this new generation, the time span is very short. You know,
2.5 minutes.
Not even.
Optimal, not even.
Yeah, well, for the beginning, it's like 30 seconds, right? It's like 30 seconds, the beginning. But if you shorten it a little bit more, just shorten the song, it'll be phenomenal. It'll be a great song. Your production is right. Everything is good. So I applaud you on that as well. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you, for real.
Nice. That's real constructive feedback. And I agree on the length, but hey, remember, you can have 5 different versions. You can have the radio edit. You can have the EDM remix, 10 minutes, remix by Marshmello, whatever. You can have the originally intended remix. You can have the acoustic remix. That's what artists don't realize. Going back to Cardi B, if you look at each one of her releases, go on her YouTube page, she'll have like 5 videos. She'll got the acoustic, she'll got the radio edit, the dancing video, the clean, the dirty, all of that. And there's a reason for that. There's different marketing angles for all of it. But one piece of feedback I have, because I love the instrumental, and I feel like this one I think is in the major key. It could be potentially more energetic. Is it in the major key? There you go. See, I felt it, but I didn't feel you as much. I don't know, I know we're dealing with a budget system here, but if you were more vocal, like as you're doing it, because I think, especially on the hook, there's parts where I wanted to feel a little more energy, and I know you could deliver it. So I think it's just more like practice. But the instrument, the song carried me for sure. So he knows the song, so I didn't catch every word because maybe I'm sitting at the wrong angle, but that's why I wanted to hear you more, because I felt like there was more, emotion behind it. And I did try to Shazam it, but I didn't recognize it. Is the song out? That's why.
See, but now I'm going to do something real nice.
Go ahead.
I'm going to do something real good. Since we had 3 home runs tonight, right? I'm going to do something that my bosses might hate me, but it's all good. Because I give them the best mix show every Sunday, so they can't really say shit. Don't tell Ron that. I need you to give me all 3 songs I'm going to play this Sunday on Hip Hop Nation.
Wow. Look at that. That's only on Music Vitamins, guys. That's a crazy
I have a special segment, unsigned artist segment. You know what I'm saying? It's really hip hop, you know what I'm saying? Because it's Hip Hop Nation. But because of y'all 3, y'all came and y'all did what y'all, was supposed to do and had, like I always say on the show, y'all had the cojones to come up here in front of people and do it. And I love all 3. I will play all 3 of y'all, and you ladies will be my unsigned artists for this Sunday night show.
Wow, that's crucial. Pretty well. I appreciate you doing that for the ladies. And watch your Shazams after that happens, because on how that?
No, so this one is so it's Hip Hop Nation, channel 44 on Sirius XM every Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you live in the West Coast, it's 5 p.m. Pacific. So it's 8 p.m. to 10. It's 2 hours. It's me and my brother DJ Hollywood KO. You know what I'm saying? He actually records. He actually in Miami. So he does the recording out there at the Sirius XM studio. I do it here in the New York studio. We actually just FaceTime each other. We record together. So
yeah, that's a huge opportunity. That's just not only nationwide.
It's worldwide.
Canada, yeah.
Yes.
It's worldwide.
It's worldwide. You could download the Sirius XM app. If you have Sirius XM in your car, you can listen to it in your car. It's channel 44, Hip Hop Nation, 8 o'clock. So ladies, get ready because I'm about to make a movie out all three of y'all.
That is awesome. Give a round of applause for that. And I know, guys, we're running out of time, so pretty low. I want to ask you one more question, and sort of open-ended, but it's for the artists. Like, top 1 or 2 pieces of advice for independent artists or producers or DJs in 2023, because you've been in this for years and things have changed. But what do you think in 2023? Like, what's your best advice?
So for 2023, all I want to say is be animals. Go out there, go for the win. Don't lay back and don't think nothing comes in your lap. Nothing will ever come to your lap. And that's just in life in general. My advice to you guys is go out there and show and prove to yourself. Be live. Don't let social media take over and think that you're going to blow up through a phone or through a computer. All right? That's not going to work. I'm being real with you. It only works. It's like winning the lottery with social media. You know what I'm saying? It works for some people, but it doesn't work for everybody. I'm such an old school guy that I'd like to do old school things. And the old school way, for some apparent reason, works every time. Go out there for the win. Introduce yourself. Show and prove who you are. Meet and greet to the people that you need to meet and greet. Believe me, this is the time of age that you could get closer to these people that you thought that you never could get close to. You know what I'm saying? All you gotta know, listen, one thing about social media is a great thing and it's a bad thing. The great thing about it is that social media will tell you where everybody's at. I post every flyer where I'm at with every club. If y'all want to come see me, come see me. It's not that hard. Introduce yourself to me. Become my friend. Become my friend before you become an artist. Show me why I need to play your record, just like how these 3 ladies did tonight. You know what I'm saying? Prove it to me. And then you know what? Sky's the limit. You know what I'm saying? My advice, like I said, be animals. That's how you got to think of it. Be animals and show and prove yourself what you could do.
Thank you for that. And I know when he says be animals, that's in all aspects. Health, the business learning, the
Everything.
education, perfecting your craft,
Right.
building relationships, building your team, all around. You know what I'm saying?
And have a plan.
Yeah, yes, sir. Thank you.
And have a plan. Let me tell you something. I never had a plan. I always went with my gut or whatever it was, and I never had nothing organized until I met my partner. Shout out to my partner, Bless. You know what I'm saying? I gotta shout him out. That's my brother. That's my business partner. We do everything together. But because of that man, he changed who I am, and he made me organize. You gotta plan things out. It doesn't take. It's not that hard for you to take a notepad and to write something down. Write out your plans. Write out what you want to do. And then one by one, execute everything. You know what I'm saying? By doing that, believe me, you're going to see how much you're going to reach in your career. And like I said before, open up more avenues for yourself. Do not just stay in one lane. You know what I'm saying? Or I just want to be an artist. But you could probably do other things. There are other things you could do. I didn't mention it right now. I'm going to mention it real quick. But I have a DJ show called Turn the Tables. I developed it during pandemic. I have the #1 DJ game show right now. For the first time, I did a live Turn the Tables this year, and I sold out every show. The winner of that show, that DJ, took home $10,000. $10,000.
Beautiful.
You know what I'm saying?
When is the next one?
The next one is September.
Nice.
And here's the best part. We got more sponsorship for the next one. And for trials starts in August, so or any DJs. I'm going to 6 different states for tryouts. I'm going to LA, Chicago, Houston, Atlanta, of course, New York, Detroit, Miami. Just to pick out the 26 best DJs to compete for another $10,000. You know what I'm saying? And that's an avenue that I never thought I would create, and I did. But I created it from my experience with working with DJs. So never stay stuck on one lane. Always open up to other lanes, because that one lane might have a construction. So what happens if you have a construction in one lane? You got a detour. Always remember that.
No, it's a huge piece of gem, because think about it. What's artist that understands the business, could be a manager, could be a label owner, DJ that understands the business and turntables and software, could be a producer, could be, there's so, like, if you love the industry, that's the thing, like, don't give up, because there's other avenues for you, but you have to learn about the avenues. You got to meet the people and you got to do the business.
Right.
And one thing I wanted to say, because you gave him a good piece of advice, I give this in my accelerator, and let's say I was representing you 3 ladies as a digital marketing agency. A lot of artists always want to do showcases and open up, pay money to open up for these big artists. There's a lot of wrong ways they get at that, and they a lot of times get nothing out of it. But if all 3 of you are in New York City, and even like, look, I think maybe we got 75 people in here, just came to this, maybe 100 people in the building. But imagine if each one of you bring out 50 of your own fans, and you do a show. You don't have to worry about big names, paying money. You probably have to pay the venue, and you have to market, individually in your own area. But you bring out 150 of your own fans and do a show for them. That experience for your fans is incredible. And you get that on videotape, and you use that to the next one. Next one, you have 250 people. You guys can, collaborate all the time. But
just to let y'all know, I'm about to give them the biggest homework they ever had. Just because I said I'm gonna play on radio doesn't mean they're gonna go somewhere.
Right.
I want to see what they're gonna do from now to Sunday.
Yeah.
How they're gonna promote themselves to say, "Oh, I'm gonna be on Sirius XM Sunday." This is the test now. This is the test for you 3 to see what you're gonna do from now to Sunday. And then after I do play it, I want to see what's gonna happen after. Because the key is for me to continue to play it. Get it? That's your job.
I'm going to give you a hit. Once that plays on the song and you guys have like even more artists or more fans hit us DM, be like, yo, what's that record you played? Blah, 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 right? Like that's like the old, back in the day, the phone lines will be blowing up. If a new artist on the radio station, the consumers listen, the fans listening, and the phone start ringing. Who was that? Blah, blah, blah. That's how you could potentially get your song in the rotation from a DJ show. Because it's very difficult to get your song in the actual rotation in the record pools. These days, the phone lines, that's dead, but social media is the way. Getting comments on his show's page, all of that. If the fans will do it, and you can get your own fans to do it. It doesn't have to be random fans, but, it's just a little hint, because I know that works, because some of the artists that we work with, that's how they get the
So I know y'all happy now. Is that now your task is before and after.
And it's only Tuesday, so we got plenty of time till Sunday. It's a good.
That's right.
Usually we do these shows on Wednesday. But yo, Pretty Lou, I appreciate you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for the time, donating your time.
Thank you. Everybody, thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was a little hard for me because I'm the only one today, you know what I'm saying? But it was worth it. And it was, I appreciate it. I hope every gem that I said, everything that I have mentioned and the stories, I hope you guys really take it and really take it to the soul and really work hard. And I hope you guys tonight leave different, but in a different positive mindset. You know what I'm saying? So on the behalf of myself, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Pretty Lou. And I'm just going to make a prediction, because even though last time we had 4 guests, we only had 1, but he's probably going to make the most impact because of what he's about to do for these 3 ladies.
Yeah.
Of one of our shows, So this is not going to stop. So I want to thank everybody for coming. Give a round of applause.
Round of applause, man.
And three, please support the bar. Support Sour Mouse for having us because we're going to be in back July, August.
Because without them, without them, this is wouldn't be possible. So give them a round of applause, man.
Thank you for that. So I'm again, make sure you follow us. Let me go back to the QR codes if you haven't scanned it yet, so that way you can scan it and follow the team, so that way you can get an update on the next show. Again, we don't know when it's going to be in July, but the only way to find out is if you follow us. And right now, we're sponsoring it for you. This is paid for by sponsors. It's free for now for you guys. It may change, but keep coming through and showing up.
Yeah, still coming.
There's a lot of repeat faces, but we're going to continue to do this if you guys support us and support the bar. If you don't support the bar, they're not going to support us. We can't support you. It's a circle of life.
Just drink responsibly. There you go.
Yeah. Hey, buy some chicken nuggets, fries, pizza, buy Perrier, whatever the shit I drink on usually. I don't drink until after the show, So thank you guys. And
thank you so much. Thank you.
Drive safe.